So we all know we have to do this at some point. Somebody says, no matter what, phahla, pray. Your family goes to see inyanga, isangoma, they're told they have to phahla. Ooh, like, what is ukuphala? And like, what is the purpose of ukuphala? Like, do you know beyond the ceremony and the crisis? Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to Sangoma Society. My name is Uhani Wagamakwakwa, Ngingumakhosi Nomabutho Emsamo, and this is Sangoma Society, where we aim to demystify the ancestral. Today, I'd like to unpack what it is, ukuphala, and the purpose yokuphala. Ultimately, this video could really end right here with this one sentence. Ukuphala serves the purpose of having a conversation with your ancestors. What we're doing when we begin this journey into the ancestral in any context, whether we are called to be healers or whether we are just a person who has some realm of responsibility within the family, or an individual who has this desire to connect with their ancestors, is that we're building a relationship. And relationships, we build them on conversation. Masiphahla, what we're doing is we are calling in those members of our bloodline who we descend from, and we're expressing to them whatever it is that we wish to express in that moment. We often come to ukuphala with the intention of gaining something from that conversation. But you know, the thing is, like any relationship, sometimes it's nice when people just know that they like having you around. So we could just start there. This is why, for the most part, when we begin the relationship with our ancestors, we want to have as little paraphernalia as possible and more just the sincere intention, and also the dedicated space and time in which we choose to have these conversations with our ancestors. And in those conversations, we can then begin to develop the relationship that will be the foundation that forms whatever comes thereafter. You want to be an active part of the relationship that you have with your ancestors, because your ancestors are consistently with you. They're always trying to communicate with you, whether it be through signs like numbers, flowers, certain animals that you might see, or more mystically in your dreams or visions. These people are with you. They are literally in the blood that flows through your body, the skin that holds you together, and the neural pathways that form your thoughts. They are with you always. So developing a relationship with them through the ritual and practice of conversating with them in the manner that we call ukuphala is really what I would consider a basic thing to be doing. It's prudent. It is the foundation of spiritual hygiene. It's the right thing to do if you really want to be you, because it's learning different aspects of yourself. But let's not get too far carried away. Ukuphala serves the purpose of facilitating conversations. So different kinds of phahla require different things. Take, for instance, you. If somebody is trying to have a conversation with you regarding a certain matter, there are certain things that they should take into consideration about who you are. This is what we should do when we go and connect with our ancestors in our sacred space that we create in our homes, whether it be a corner of your bedroom, a dedicated room, wherever it might be that you find yourself able to connect with your ancestors, perhaps a mountainside, perhaps a river. That place should be of some significance to both yourself and your ancestors. And if it is not of any particular significance, you can create that significance by expressing to them why it is that you've chosen that place. So essentially, this relationship, this conversation, ukuphala, requires in its essence intent, clarity of intention. We shouldn't go into it just because. I often find people coming into umsamo and, oh, there was something that you people did at home, but you just kind of did it. You didn't actually invite the ancestors in. You didn't stop to say, let me let these people know what it is that I'm doing today. Yes, they are with you. But just like if you were with someone and you just happened to go to a restaurant and you just happened to share a meal together, that doesn't mean that you understood what that meant to that person. There was a meal. Okay, and then let's have the conversation. The purpose of coming together in these contexts is often to build a relationship. It is the same way with your ancestors. There should be intention behind the words that you choose. There should be clarity about whom it is that you call in. It should be that depending on the phahla that you are having, there is some level of clarity about who it is whom is going to speak on that particular occasion. So for your intimate one-on-one relationship, day-to-day building, that's just you and your ancestors, and you have every right to be speaking. Now, different bloodlines work in different ways. In some places, in some bloodlines, in some families, you do not go and begin burning impepo just because. In some instances, it is only a certain person in the family who should be doing that, but you still have every right to go emsamo and speak. Now, the reason that we have these kind of boundaries and protocols in place is because there are certain boundaries that are required when interacting with the realm beyond the veil. And if you are not in full understanding of what it is that you're doing, you can cause harm. So at the essence of what you're doing, remember, your intention is to have a conversation. There is a video on how to phahla, and I will link it. I'll try to link it over here, and I'll definitely link it in the description below so that you can understand how it is that you go about calling in your ancestors. If you'd like to have an experience wherein I coach you on how to go through that process day to day, I have a full moon ritual that we host here at Sangoma Society, clearing into consciousness teaches you how to go about ukuphala at its most basic level so that you can develop that relationship with your ancestors one-on-one and begin to have those intentional conversations that deepen that relationship. I heard something really disturbing. Somebody said to me they were afraid to phahla because once you start, you can't stop. And I thought, what a strange thing. I'm not sure where that guidance comes from. Any relationship has boundaries, including the relationship with your ancestors. You can tell them that I'm connecting with you today in this way because of this, and this is what I'd like to gain understanding on so that we can better this relationship. I'll come back to you when I feel that I've received your response. Please respond to me in a manner that I will understand so that I can take the necessary action. Sometimes we're completely blind to the manner in which our ancestors communicate with us. And then it becomes essential to go for a consultation. A consultation is, again, the facilitation of a conversation between yourself and your ancestors. You should be able to ask questions. Yes, telling a healer certain things might just be a waste of time because there's almost nothing that you can tell a healer that is going to be of significance to what the ancestors are going to be saying in that day. You could tell them your entire life story, and that's great. And it's definitely the space for that because we are counselors in some context. However, what the ancestors will have to tell you is likely things that you have been unaware of, likely things that, as much as they may resonate, you might not be able to see fully with your naked eye. What it will require is for you to deepen that relationship with them, with that understanding that they would have given you in that consultation, and thereafter ask them to bring you further clarity. And often they will bring you the clarity that you need, whether it is to go forward with what you were guided to do or not to do it at all. That guidance will come if you are phahlaring, if we are phahla, because that is how you develop your relationship with your ancestors, by having one conversation at a time. And one thing that we seem to take for granted, and sometimes it's not our fault, but the socialization that we find ourselves in, is that our parents are our living ancestors. And sometimes our parents are just an amalgamation of their wounds, and they haven't done the work, and it becomes difficult. But sometimes, even in that difficulty, there are gems, there are treasures to be found, wisdoms for us to reap. I hope that in this long and winding way, I have brought to you some understanding about what it is, ukuphala, and why, to some extent, that we phahla. My name is Uhani Wagamakwakwa. I am Hani Tell a Story on all social media platforms. And this is Sangoma Society. We have Sangoma Society on all social media platforms, as well as sangomasociety.com, where you can find further resources for your healing. If this has been helpful for you today, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. And where it's not possible, if I can, I'll do a video. But sometimes, if the question is going longer than 2 sentences, Trust me, you need a consultation. Rather choose that option so that you're able to connect with your ancestors in a context that will be clear and direct to you. Until next time, ukuphala.